Commander Jiho stared at the holographic message floating above his desk. He read it 3 times to make sure he wasn't dreaming. "An invitation to the Galactic Confederation War Games," he muttered, running a hand through his short black hair. "For Earth." The blue light of the message lit up his small office aboard the International Space Station Alpha. Outside his viewport, Earth spun lazily, beautiful and fragile. The Galactic Confederation had made contact with humanity only 15 years ago. They were a union of 27 spacefaring species, each with technology far beyond Earth's capabilities. Since first contact, Earth had been trying to join their ranks, but progress was slow. The Confederation considered humans too primitive, too untested, and now this invitation, Jiho tapped his communication panel. "Director Kim, I need to speak with you immediately." 3 days later, Jiho stood before the United Earth Council, explaining the situation to the 12 representatives. "The war games happen once every 50 years, he said. "They test strategy, combat skills, and survival abilities. No blood is shed. It's all simulated. But the challenges are real. 27 species will compete, and Earth is the only non-member invited." The American representative leaned forward. "Why us? Why now?" Jiho shook his head. "Unknown. But this is our chance to prove ourselves." The Chinese representative frowned. "And if we fail, then we might wait another century for membership consideration." The room fell silent until the Indian representative spoke. "Who will you take?" Jiho had already decided. "I need 3 specialists. Tactical expert Hana from South Korea, engineer Taiwan from North Korea, and diplomat Sunmi from the Asian Union." "North and South Koreans working together?" someone asked. Jiho nodded. "The Unification Treaty is new, but both are the best in their fields, and we need Earth's best." 2 weeks later, Jiho met his team at the new Singapore spaceport. Hana arrived first, her military bearing evident in her straight posture and alert eyes. "Commander," she said, saluting crisply. "Tactical expert Hana reporting." "At ease," Jiho said. "This isn't a military mission exactly." "Every mission is military when competing against unknown powers," she replied. Taiwan arrived next, carrying only a small bag and a tablet. His hands were stained with engine grease. "Sorry for the mess," he said, wiping his hands on his pants. "I was finishing some calculations on my ship design." "The ship that runs on modified fusion?" Jiho asked. Taiwan grinned. "The very one. I think it could give us an edge." Sunmi was last, dressed in formal diplomatic attire. Her calm demeanor balanced the team's energy. "I've studied all available information on Confederation protocols," she said, "though I must admit it's limited." The Confederation transport arrived punctually, a sleek silver vessel that hummed rather than roared. Its pilot wasn't human, but a tall blue-skinned being who introduced himself as Koro. "Earth representatives," Koro said in perfect English, "welcome. The journey to Concordia Station will take 3 days by your measurement." Once aboard, Koro gave them a brief tour before showing them to their quarters. The ship was beautiful, but alien, with curved walls and technology that seemed to blend with the structure itself. Later, in the ship's common area, Jiho gathered his team. "We need to understand what we're facing," he said. "Sunmi, what do we know about these games?" Sunmi activated her tablet. "Not much. They're highly prestigious. The Confederation uses them to evaluate species capabilities and cultural approaches. No species has ever been invited before achieving at least Level 3 technological classification. Earth is barely Level 2. "So we're at a disadvantage," Hana stated. "Significantly," Sunmi agreed. "But being invited at all is unprecedented." Taiwan frowned. "It feels like a test or a trap. Or an opportunity," Jiho countered. "These games could advance Earth's standing by decades. Or set us back generations if we fail," Hana added. Jiho nodded. "Which is why failure isn't an option." As their ship accelerated beyond the solar system, the 4 humans fell silent, each contemplating the enormity of their task. They weren't just 4 individuals anymore. They carried the hopes of an entire planet. The vast darkness of space surrounded them, beautiful and terrifying in its enormity. Somewhere ahead lay Concordia Station and the war games that would determine humanity's future among the stars. The Confederation transport ship glided into the massive docking bay of Concordia Station. Through the viewport, Jiho and his team stared in awe at the structure. It wasn't just a space station, it was a small city floating in space with sweeping architecture that seemed to defy physics. "It's beautiful," Sunmi whispered, "and intimidating." Hana added, "The ship settled with barely a vibration. When the doors opened, they stepped into an environment teeming with alien life. Beings of all shapes, sizes, and colors moved through the concourse. Some walked on multiple legs, others floated, and a few seemed to phase in and out of visibility. "Stay close," Jiho instructed his team. "Remember, we represent all of Earth here." As they walked through the main hall, conversation stopped. Alien eyes, some clustered in groups, others singular and massive, turned to watch them pass. Jiho felt the weight of their judgment. "They're staring at us like we're children who wandered into an adult party," Taewon muttered. A tall, green-skinned being with 4 arms stepped directly into their path. "Humans," it said, the translator in their ears making its clicks and whistles understandable. "Such a young species, why waste a slot on creatures who can barely leave their own planet?" Before Jiho could respond, another alien approached, this one shorter with smooth purple skin and large, kind eyes. "Enough, Zell," the newcomer said. "All were primitive once," the purple being turned to the humans. "I am Mino of the Alarian Collective. Welcome to Concordia." "Thank you," Jiho said with a small bow. "I'm Commander Jiho, and this is my team, Hana, Taewon, and Sunmi." "Come," Mino said. "I will show you to your quarters. The opening ceremony begins tomorrow." As they walked, Mino explained the station's layout. Their quarters were smaller than the others, but comfortable enough. "Most competitors are enjoying the reception in the Grand Hall," Mino said. "Would you like to attend?" Jiho looked at his team. They nodded. "Yes, please," he said. The Grand Hall was filled with delegates from across the galaxy. Some groups mingled, while others stayed apart. The humans entered quietly, but their presence was immediately noticed. "What do you know about the challenges?" Hana asked Mino as they stood awkwardly near the entrance. "There are 3, Mino replied. Strategy, combat, and survival. Each tests different aspects of your species' capabilities." "And how do they work?" Taewon pressed. "Strategy involves resource management and planning. Combat tests your tactical abilities in simulated warfare. Survival challenges your adaptation to harsh environments." Sunmi, ever observant, had been watching the room. The other species seemed to know each other well. Mino nodded. "Most have competed for thousands of years. Some alliances here are older than human civilization." That night, unable to sleep, Jiho found himself in their shared common room, studying the competition rules. Taewon joined him, eyes red from his own reading. "Find anything interesting?" Jiho asked. Taewon nodded. "These rules are strange. They list hundreds of prohibited actions, but never define what is allowed." Jiho leaned forward. "Show me." Together they scrolled through the rulebook. It was extensive, detailing countless forbidden actions across all 3 challenges. "It's all about what you can't do, not what you can do," Jiho mused. "Exactly," Taewon said. "And look at this pattern. The older the rule, the more specific. Like they added each one after someone found a loophole." By morning, all 4 humans had studied the rules. Over breakfast, they discussed their findings. "Every species here has centuries of experience with these games," Hana said. "We can't match that." "No," Jiho agreed. "But we can use it. These rules evolved over time because species kept finding loopholes. And then the loopholes were closed with new rules," Sunmi concluded. "But only the specific loopholes they found," Jiho said with growing excitement. "If we look at what's explicitly forbidden, we can find what's implicitly allowed," Taewon finished. Jiho nodded, a plan forming in his mind. "Every other species will play the way they've always played, following unwritten traditions. But we'll play by exactly what's written, no more, no less." "It's risky," Hana warned. "We could antagonize everyone." "True," Jiho replied. "But right now they expect us to fail. Our only chance is to surprise them." As the announcement for the opening ceremony echoed through their quarters, the 4 humans shared a look of determination. They would enter these games as underdogs, but perhaps they could bend the rules just enough to prove humanity belonged among the stars. The strategy phase began at dawn station time. Jiho and his team entered the massive simulation chamber, where 28 identical platforms floated in a circular arrangement. Each platform represented a simulated planet, with various resource nodes glowing different colors across its surface. "Competitors, take your positions," announced the chief arbiter, a tall being with crystalline features that sparkled under the chamber lights. The human team stepped onto their assigned platform, a simple gray disk that hummed with energy. Around them, the other species took their places. Some teams had 6 or more members, others had only one massive entity. The humans, with just 4, were among the smallest teams. The strategy phase tests your ability to manage resources and develop your civilization, the arbiter explained. Each team begins with equal basic resources. Your goal is to achieve the highest development score within the time limit. You may not directly sabotage other teams. Begin. Holographic controls appeared before each team. Jiho nodded to Taiwan, who took the lead as their resource specialist. "Standard resource nodes are appearing," Taiwan reported. "Energy, minerals, biological and technological." "Let's follow our plan," Jiho said. "Everyone remembers their roles?" They nodded. Unlike the other teams who immediately began harvesting resources at maximum efficiency, the humans adopted a measured approach. They built basic infrastructure but left several resource-rich areas completely unprotected. "The Doraxians are watching our southern quadrant," Hana whispered. "They've noticed we haven't secured the high-yield energy nodes." "Good," Jiho said. "Let them look." An hour into the simulation, their planet was developing slowly compared to others. The scoreboard hovering above showed them in 23rd place out of 28. "Now?" Sunmi asked, monitoring the other teams. Jiho studied the movements of their closest competitors. "Not yet, they're still cautious." The Varelians, a species of highly intelligent arthropods, were the first to make a move. Their harvesting units edged closer to the human territory, then suddenly darted in to capture an undefended energy node. "They took the bait," Hana said with a small smile. Jiho nodded. "Now." Taiwan activated their hidden protocol. Suddenly, the energy node the Varelians had captured began flooding their systems with more power than they could handle. Their grid flickered as they struggled to manage the unexpected surge. "We never sabotaged them," Jiho explained to his confused teammates. "We just didn't install the regulators that everyone assumes should be there. They did this to themselves by taking what wasn't protected." As the Varelians struggled, the humans quickly redirected their own resources, capturing 3 abandoned nodes the Varelians had left vulnerable during their power crisis. The pattern repeated. Other species, seeing the humans' apparently weak defenses, moved to capitalize, only to find themselves overextended or overwhelmed by unstable resources. The humans never directly attacked anyone, but their carefully planned vulnerability became a trap that many fell into. By the final hour, the scoreboard had changed dramatically. The humans had risen to 5th place. "One more push," Jiho urged. "Hana, deploy the final strategy." Hana activated their reserve resources, which they had hidden in plain sight as inefficient storage units. In reality, they had been stockpiling energy for this moment. With a sudden surge, their civilization's development accelerated at a pace that left observers murmuring in shock. When the final bell sounded, the scoreboard showed the humans in 3rd place, behind only the Alarians and the Mesovians, species that had been competing for millennia. Silence fell over the chamber. Then whispers broke out among competitors and observers alike. "Impossible," someone hissed. "They must have cheated," another said louder. The chief arbiter approached the human. Platform crystal face unreadable. "Interesting strategy, humans. The council requests your presence after the closing ceremony." As they left the chamber, Mino hurried to their side. "That was unexpected," the purple alien said. "You've caused quite a stir. Many are questioning whether your tactics violated the spirit of the competition." "Did we break any rules?" Jiho asked. "No," Mino admitted. "That's what has everyone concerned." Later, the humans learned that the Games Council was in heated debate. Some argued the humans had undermined thousands of years of tradition. Others pointed out that nothing in the rules prohibited their approach. We've made them uncomfortable. Sunmi observed as they prepared for the next challenge. Good, Jiho replied. They invited us because they thought we would fail. Now they know humans don't follow predictable patterns. The combat phase took place in an enormous arena with varied terrain, forests, hills, small lakes, and open plains. Each team received a base on the outer edge, connected to the central field by a single path. Jiho surveyed their position from their base's observation tower. Around them, 27 other species prepared for battle. It's like nothing I've ever seen, Hana said, watching through digital binoculars. Look at the Zygonians. They're arranging themselves in perfect hexagonal formations. The Calipari are setting up ritual markers, Sunmi noted. They appear to be following ceremonial battle procedures. Jiho turned to Taiwan. What did you find in the rules? Nothing forbids environmental manipulation, Taiwan replied, scrolling through. His tablet. Direct attacks have specific limitations. No simulated kills within 20 meters of a base. No targeting communication devices directly. No continuous suppression fire lasting more than 30 seconds. But nothing about changing the environment itself, Jiho pressed. Nothing, Taiwan confirmed. Jiho smiled. Then we have our strategy. The starting horn blared across the arena. Most species began their traditional advances, some in tight formations, others in fluid patterns that resembled dances more than military maneuvers. The humans didn't move from their base. They'll think we're afraid, Hana said, watching the others. Let them, Jiho replied. Taiwan, are the devices ready? Taiwan nodded, holding up a bag of small spherical objects. Ready to deploy. Hana, take point. Sunmi, you're our observer. Report movements and reactions. The human team moved cautiously into the arena, staying close to the forested areas. When they reached their first target area, Taiwan placed 3 of his devices in a triangular pattern and activated them remotely. The Doraxians are approaching from the north, Sunmi reported from her hidden position. They're using a spiral attack formation. Perfect, Jiho said. Activate sequence 1. Taiwan pressed a button on his control pad. The devices emitted no visible light or sound, but the effect was immediate. The Doraxian formation faltered as their members began stumbling and clutching their head regions. What's happening to them? Hana asked. Subsonic frequency disruption, Taiwan explained. Their species communicates partly through subsonic vibrations. We're not attacking them, just changing the background noise. The confused Doraxians retreated, unable to maintain their formation without clear communication. Throughout the day, the humans repeated this strategy with different species. They used light patterns to disrupt the vision of photosensitive competitors. They released harmless but pungent scents near species with enhanced smell. They even changed the local temperature to affect heat-sensitive opponents. Never once did they directly engage in traditional combat. Instead, they let the environment do the work for them. The Mesovians and Alarians are approaching our position, Sunmi warned. They appear to be working together. They've figured out what we're doing, Jiho realized. Deploy the final sequence. Taiwan activated their remaining devices simultaneously. The entire central region of the arena became a confused mess of competing sensory manipulations. Species that had been fighting each other suddenly found themselves disoriented as vision, sound, smell, and temperature all changed unpredictably. In the chaos, the humans made quick, precise movements, tagging bases and scoring points without engaging in direct combat. When the final horn sounded, the scoreboard showed the humans in second place, behind only the Alarians. The arena fell silent. Then an angry buzzing filled the air as the Zygonian leader approached the chief arbiter. "This is an outrage," the Zygonian's translator boomed. "The humans mock our sacred combat traditions. They have shown no honor, no skill in direct engagement." Other species joined the protest. The Calipari representative waved all 6 arms in anger. For 10,000 years, these games have celebrated the art of combat. The humans have turned it into trickery. The chief arbiter raised a crystalline hand for silence. The humans broke no written rule. The council will review their methods, but the scores stand. As they left the arena, Jiho could feel the stares of the other competitors, some angry, some calculating, and a few, like Mino, showing what might have been respect. 2 challenges down, Jiho told his team. 1 to go. They'll be ready for us next time, Hanar warned. Jiho nodded. Which means we'll need to be even more creative. The final challenge began with an announcement from the chief arbiter. All the teams gathered in the main hall as the crystalline being addressed them. For the survival phase, all competitors will be transported to Nemesis, an uninhabited moon with harsh conditions. Your goal is to survive for 3 days while completing specific tasks. Before we begin, the council has issued clarifications to the rules. Jiho and his team exchanged glances as the arbiter displayed a list of new regulations, all clearly aimed at limiting human creativity. They're afraid of us, Hana whispered. Jiho studied the new rules carefully. No, they're confirming our advantage. Look, they've closed specific loopholes but left countless others open. They don't understand how we think. The transport ships delivered each team to different locations on Nemesis, a small rocky moon with thin atmosphere, extreme temperature shifts, and unpredictable weather. The humans found themselves in a barren valley surrounded by sharp mountains. Assessment? Jiho asked, scanning their surroundings. Temperature dropping rapidly as night approaches, Taewon reported. Atmosphere breathable but thin. Local gravity about 70% of Earth's. First task is to establish shelter, Sunmi said, checking their mission parameters. Second is to locate water. Other teams had brought advanced technologies, portable force fields, molecular reconstructors, atmospheric generators. The humans had only basic tools and their knowledge. They expect us to fail without advanced tech, Jiho said. Let's prove them wrong. Instead of building an exposed shelter like other teams, the humans located a small cave in the mountainside. Using basic physics, they constructed a natural heating system by channeling warm air from deeper in the mountain. For water, they observed how morning frost formed on certain rocks, then created collection systems using natural slopes and materials. Every solution relied on fundamental principles rather than complex technology. By the second day, they had completed 6 of the 10 required tasks, putting them in 4th place overall. The Alarians led, followed by the Mesovians and Doraxians. We can still win this, Hana insisted, as they worked on their 7th task, establishing a communication array. Suddenly the ground shook violently. Rocks tumbled down the mountainsides as a massive quake rocked the moon. Seismic activity wasn't in the briefing, Taewon said, checking his instruments. This is real. Jiho's communication device crackled with an emergency message from the arbiter. Natural disaster protocol activated. All competitive activities suspended. Teams should proceed to emergency extraction points. Our extraction point is 5 kilometers east, Sunmi reported. As they gathered their essential gear, Hana spotted something through her binoculars. The Doraxian team is trapped. Their shelter collapsed. Jiho made a quick decision. We're changing course. Let's go help them. But the competition, Taewon began, isn't as important as lives, Jiho finished. They raced across the rocky terrain to the Doraxian shelter, where 3 alien beings were pinned under collapsed structures. Using their knowledge of leverage and the lower gravity, the humans freed the trapped competitors. Why help enemies? The Doraxian leader asked, their translator struggling with the emotion in their voice. We're not enemies, Jiho replied simply, just competitors. As they continued toward extraction, they encountered more teams in trouble, some with failed equipment, others injured by falling debris. Each time the humans stopped to help. By the time they reached the extraction point, they had assisted 5 different species. Their own team was exhausted but intact. 3 days later, all teams gathered once more in Concordia's Grand Hall for the final ceremony. The humans stood quietly, expecting their delays had cost them any chance of victory. The chief arbiter approached the central platform. The survival phase was interrupted by an unexpected natural disaster. However, this provided a true test of character. The council has made its decision. The scoreboard illuminated. Earth's team stood in first place. The humans displayed something more valuable than rule manipulation, the Arbiter announced. When faced with real danger, they chose cooperation over competition. This quality, putting life above victory, demonstrates why diversity of thought strengthens us all. Mino approached with a ceremonial medallion. The Council has voted. Earth is granted provisional membership in the Galactic Confederation. As cheers erupted from some teams and reluctant acknowledgement from others, Jiho realized they had won, not by bending rules, but by staying true to humanity's core values. You have shown us, Mino said quietly, that sometimes the newest perspective is exactly what ancient traditions need. As they prepared to return to Earth with news that would change human history forever, Jiho knew they would be remembered not just as winners, but as the team that bent the rules only to ultimately transcend them.